Hey everyone! So today in our tasting series, we're going to be doing baked apple. It's one of the things that was on the menu for the last day of the Titanic, and I will probably do a little talking bit here soon after this before we get into the recipe, talking to you about the Titanic and some of the different menus for the last day for the first class, the second class, and the third class. April 14th, 1912 might have seemed like any other day, but for those aboard the Titanic, things were about to be totally different. Of course, most have heard of the tragic ending of this ship that didn't make it through its maiden voyage, even if that knowledge is mostly gained from the 1997 movie. The Titanic was a British passenger ship, a part of the White Star Line and the largest ship afloat at that time. The ship carried a variety of passengers ranging from some of the wealthiest people in the world to immigrants seeking a new life in the United States and Canada. There were 3 classes aboard the Titanic, and the first and second class areas were made to at once lose the feeling that we are on board ship and seem instead to be entering the hull of some great house on shore, as is quoted from Anton Gill's book Titanic, the real story of the construction of the world's most famous ship. Third class passengers, while not having as much luxury, were still grander accommodations than some ships that had come before it. However, today, that's not what we are here to be talking about. We are going to be focusing on some of the fantastic foods that they ate on board. Interestingly enough, each of the different 3 classes served very different foods. First class was all sorts of delicacies and the fanciest foods they had to offer. After all, how often do you have filet mignons lele or sauté of chicken lyonnaise? Second class is, of course, a step down in the terms of this elaborate fare, but for us today, spring lamb and mint sauce is still pretty high class. Third class is much tamer in the taste category, featuring oatmeal, soup, cabin biscuits, roast beef with brown gravy, and more along that lines. However, today, while we could be making some other grand dishes, we went with something much more simple, using a baked apple recipe that might be similar to what they might have had on board. So I hope you guys enjoy the video, and check out the description for a few more fun resources and recipes and videos about the Titanic. Back to the video. What we are going to do today is very simple. Technically, you could up it a little bit more if you had like oats, but I don't have oats with me here today. So what I've got is 3 ingredients, and we'll hope it works out. I have got an apple, and what I did before doing this is I looked up and saw what kind of apple was good for baking, and I ended up getting a Honeycrisp. So I'm going to wash this, and I'll be back after I get it washed and have got it cut in half. So I'm back. I have that apple washed and cut in half. Do be careful. And if you're not very good at cutting, have somebody help you out. Do it on a good flat surface, because this is the only apple I have left. Because I lost the other half, it is laying over there on the floor, which I'm going to pick up and dispose of. But we have half an apple to experiment with our baking. What I'm going to do is kind of get a spoon, or if you've got some perfectly round shaped thing, that would be perfect, to kind of get the seeds out of here. And what we could even do is cut this again and basically quarter it. So we may do that, maybe see if it bakes better, and then let it bake for a little while. But before we get to that, what we're going to do is just kind of get in there. So there we've got that cut out. A lot of people will put their oats in there. So what we're going to do, so we've got our brown sugar. If you prefer the taste of light brown sugar, you might want to use that. Actually, all I had at home was dark brown sugar. And a lot of times these recipes will also call for cinnamon and different things like that, but I didn't have cinnamon and everything very handy. But what I did have is this apple pie spice, which the ingredients in it are cinnamon, nutmeg, and allspice. So you've got definitely very complimentary apple things, which I think what we're gonna do is we're just gonna sprinkle some of this on the plate and kind of mix it up and roll our apple in it. And now we just wait. So I've already cleaned up my sugar and my spice, all the things I spilled. So I've got that done. And basically now we just wait for the apple to bake and see how it turns out. This may or may not be a fail, and I am sure that there are better recipes out there, which I will try to find and attach somehow to this video, whether it be a recipe link or another video, something. And another way even is to cut the apples up. Because who's to really say how they probably had the apples on the Titanic or any of the other stuff they had. But I'll catch up with you guys later when it is done, be it good or bad.